yeah.
And now, our feature presentation.
Don't hold your head down, hold your head up. Way in the back, I'm looking at everybody in this room. This is just a private set. It's not super formal, not like that, okay? Now look, I want you to see this thing very clearly. Brothers and sisters, who took the picture? Who took the picture? If this book is a picture of today, from Genesis to Revelation, let me take one example. Let me take one big example that we all will see instantaneously. Jesus, they say, was born 4 BC. That's a problem right there. He's supposed to be Christ, and yet he was born 4 years before himself. That's a big-time problem. Now, after he's born through a woman named Mary. We all know what a pregnant woman looks like. He went through the 9 months and got born. This little baby Jesus was like any baby, couldn't grab nothing, hollered and did all the things babies do. Baby going to grow up one day to have power over the forces of nature, indicating something of human potential. But right now the baby is a baby. Baby had to be protected. Send the baby away from Herod and all the rest of it. Years pass. He does his work. They crucify him. He's gone. We don't know when his mother died. But we do know, according to what white folks say, and they got it pretty well documented, they say that the book of Revelation was written around 96 or 98 A.D. That's roughly 60-some years after they say Jesus died, right? And of course, you know that Jesus could not have been born on December 25th. You automatically know that if he died in either March or April, and you count back 6 months, no way do you come up with December, right? Count back. April. Come on. March. What's the next month? That blows Christmas, doesn't it? And the Jew makes money on Christmas time, doesn't it? A lot of money. And then you go into a Junior Encyclopedia Britannica, and you read that it's the worship of some paganistic holiday. But you know something? I don't want to exactly say it, but it's so doggone filthy. The real nitty-gritty of Nimrod's birthday is too nasty, and it connects with a lot of profanity that a lot of brothers in the street use, which if you check out that profanity that we use is connected with Nimrod stuff, and if you check it out, it connects with child abuse and female abuse. I don't want to go too far into that, but it's something to look at. Now, so here comes Jesus. He's here. He's dead. 60-some years later, John is on the Isle of Patmos. Now, who was it that revealed the visions to him? According to the way this book is wrote up, Jesus communicated to John on the island of Patmos. Now, there's 22 books in the book of Revelation. In the 12th chapter, one of the visions involves this woman clothed with the sun, moon at her feet, 12 stars at her head, and she's pregnant. She's with child. The way the Catholics have for centuries taught that, and Protestants too, they're beginning to change now. They said, that's Mary, and she's pregnant with Jesus. Stop. How can that be? Jesus, talking to John 1900 years ago about him being born all over again at the end of the world? Please, what are we talking about? And the way it's described, this future child to be born will have more juice than this Jesus who was here. Because they killed that one. But they say some way or another he made it. Don't you see this confusion? It needs straightening out. And in the Muslim world, they say the Holy Quran says Jesus didn't die, so the Muslims say he didn't die, and the Christians say he didn't die or he escaped death. So you got roughly 2-point-something billion people on earth believing that somewhere up in the sky there's a Jesus who will come back to earth. And if you read the writings of Christians and you read the writings of Muslim scholars, it's clear they expect a physical human being called Jesus to reappear. And the Jews say, no, he didn't come, but he's due to come. And if you examine all their writings, it's so clear who they're talking about. And when you match up even what they write with what we have experienced in this country under the Master Farad Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, it's clear they're talking about us. Now, the point I'm making is just this little point alone. How in the world could Jesus be talking to John about his future rebirth? Unless this is an upside down, backward way of talking about the real Messiah to come. And that's just a little small indication from the internal makeup of this book that what we thought happened is happening. Now, all praise is due to Allah. I'm going to have to conclude this because it's running kind of late here. You find this boring? No, how do I know you might be lying? Is this making war with our ignorance? Yes, if you know the book is talking about you, and you read the word elect, and you heard what I said, even if you don't fully believe it, how are you going to totally ignore that? Who took the pictures? Tell me about it. This book says that the original of this book is in a well-preserved and guarded tablet or book. Some translations use the word master book. This book is from a master book that's guarded, carefully guarded from every Satan. Now, if this book's original is with God and he's in heaven far above this world, above evil, then why you got to guard it from Satan? Tell me about it. I want to know. The book is relevant. Now, if you ever could come to see that these two books were written by people on this earth, and they didn't get their juice from nobody but themselves, and others like themselves, then the books take on a different look, don't they? Why? Look, you have to have locks in America because people steal. All the time. Every day. You don't have to have locks in heaven, do you? Why, God, do you have to carefully guard the original that this book is from? Chapter 85, Surah 85, toward the end. Also 15 and 9, Surah 59. There's other places. Carefully guarded. Why you got to do that, God? Good question, isn't it? Again, we were taught, now this is the key thing I want to get at. Who took the picture? Oh, we don't know on our own. We come up in America blind, deaf, and dumb. We believe a lot, but we know little. Now, one of our own kind, a man who did not originate what we call the actual facts. Most all of you in this room got the actual facts. There's no argument that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had a teacher. It's well documented by friend and foe alike. He was taught by another man. They were seen, their photographs. Plenty of evidence, thousands of people around. Nobody argues that. They argue about his identity, but nobody argued that he was taught by another man who came from outside of this country and came in the country. And then at a certain point disappeared. People say they don't know where he went. Theories and whatnot. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad has a very definite statement about it, which he told us publicly. Now, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad went through 4 grades of school. He never one time ever said he was the author of what he taught. He's made it clear a jillion times over he was taught by one Master Farad Muhammad. Now here is the point to get at. He told us in short that his teacher rolled up the window shade, so to speak, removed the mystery, took him into the inner sanctum of the secrets of God's wisdom. This Bible tells you plainly, many places, that there's something to come of information that was deliberately kept back. It says it. But we're wrong to think it came 2,000 years ago. The wisdom is the wisdom that uncovers God. Revelation 10:6 or 10:7, in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, the mystery of God shall be what? Evaporated, gone, no more. This book says the same thing in different words. It talks about the secrets of God. At a certain point, God will manifest himself, and that does away with everybody's secrets. If God absolutely has come, or whenever he comes, that forces a total change in everything and in everybody. If he is absolutely the irresistible force, he don't come just to be played with. He comes to bring about changes. Are you following me? Now, my dear brothers and sisters, both of these books talk about the end of the world. And the end means the end of the power of the wicked to rule. It means also the beginning of the time of God to rule. Well, does God's time begin then totally? No. Evil had to have broken into good. Evil could not have been the original state. No. If things are running down, you have to go up to find the original. If things are getting weaker, you have to go in the opposite direction to find the source of the weakness. And you go back and you find once upon a time there was strength. Are you following me? Yes, what I'm getting at, my dear brothers and sisters, we are living now in the time when these two books talk clearly about a time when God comes to change everything. And what he brings about is a change not only in the thinking and in the emotional makeup of the people, he also brings about a change in their bodies and renders the people eventually incapable of doing evil. He's going to make the people just like himself. It tells you that in plain English. In this book, both books, it's more clearly put in your Bible. It tells you that. It talks about all the things God would do. That's among them. Now, if you examine the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, look at the broad scope of what he gave us, and compare it with the promises in these books, you find total congruence, total matchup. You know what that does? It ought to force profound respect for not so much the books, the authors of the books. These are pieces of paper. But the wisdom of men who are able to see, nobody alive right now wrote these books. Are you following me? Yes, now, my dear brothers and sisters, both of these books talk about the end of the world. And the end means the end of the power of the wicked to rule. It means also the beginning of the time of God to rule. Well, does God's time begin then totally? No. Evil had to have broken into good. Evil could not have been the original state. No. If things are running down, you have to go up to find the original. If things are getting weaker, you have to go in the opposite direction to find the source of the weakness. And you go back and you find once upon a time there was strength. Are you following me? What I'm getting at, my dear brothers and sisters, we are living now in the time when these two books talk clearly about a time when God comes to change everything. And what he brings about is a change not only in the thinking and in the emotional makeup of the people, he also brings about a change in their bodies and renders the people eventually incapable of doing evil. He's going to make the people just like himself. It tells you that in plain English. In this book, both books, it's more clearly put in your Bible. It tells you that. It talks about all the things God would do. That's among them. Now, if you examine the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, look at the broad scope of what he gave us, and compare it with the promises in these books, you find total congruence, total matchup. You know what that does? It ought to force profound respect for not so much the books, the authors of the books. These are pieces of paper. But the wisdom of men who are able to see, nobody alive right now wrote these books. So whoever wrote them, the people who wrote them, and it's written by a we and a us, and an our. Now, what we have been taught is this man who made himself known, who came in disguise and only revealed himself to one man. Listen to me careful. Listen to this very careful. Is a direct descendant of one of that group who deliberately kept themselves secret. They live on this earth They produce children on this earth.